The next rule I want to go over is grouping. And when you're grouping things together, it's a good way to put related information in one section. So, but you want to do it correctly in a way that looks professional and is easy to read. So if you are looking to have a garage sale and you're putting out flyers and you put this one out up here on the top, it's gonna look pretty crappy. So you want to keep the relevant information together, like huge sale and everything priced to sell is some information that's relevant to the sale, and then the phone number, the time, and the address is relevant to how the person is able to get to the sale. The last rule I want to go over with you is called kerning, and I need to type that in here. And what kerning is the individual space between characters, so in between letters pretty much. So a lot of times when you're typing in and you put a capital letter in and then a lowercase letter, sometimes the spacing is off in between and you'll have like bad looking lines or whatever. So I demonstrated bad kerning up here. If you look in between the H and the U, there is a larger space there than in between the U and the G and the G and the E. Now you want to use this right here. So if you put your text tool in between and move this in to where it looks like it's about correct, and then in between the S and A, you can see a little bit more subtly how the spacing is incorrect. So then you would want to move this back in once again. And then if you put your cursor in between some letters here, you can see how much space you should probably have. Let me get back in there. In between your two letters. So it looks like I went in way too far between the S and the A. So let me go in there and remember how much spacing I had between the A and the S and make it a little bit more out. Now if you look in here, there's another area where the kerning is terrible, and if you guessed it, it's over here on this S. So we would want to bring that in also. And now when everything has the same spacing, it looks way more professional. Yet another rule that I want to go over is the use of quotes. And a lot of time when you see people make things on Facebook, they'll use quotes. So like those little pictures that have inspirational sayings and stuff that the girls like to post all the time on their Facebook pages. So here is the correct way to use quotes, and you want to use the curly looking quotes here, and you don't really want to use these straight quotes. And when you're typing, you want to make sure that they're facing the correct way also. You don't want them both to go straight down. So the way to make that happen is to come into the character panel. Make sure you have use smart quotes selected. If you don't, then it's just gonna put quotes in the wrong position and it's gonna look like crap. The second to last rule that I want to go over, you guys, is the use of drop shadow. Now, as of 5/23/2014, drop shadow is pretty much outdated, and you'll only really see it in old textbooks, and it's pretty much something from the year 2000 and around that time. So drop shadow is outdated. Don't use it right now with your professional text. After this, there's only one more to go, and that'll be it for the typography things that I want you to know. And on the last one here, I wanted to let you guys know to avoid dated fonts. The two most dated fonts that everybody used to use and in professional looking companies still use sometimes is Comic Sans and Papyrus. Those are the two most I don't know, they're just the worst fonts you can use. Don't use those. I mean, you'll see Papyrus and a bunch of like Spa, and you can see already the kerning when I type it. It's already terrible on Papyrus. Comic Sans is just like goofy looking and looks like a little kid wrote it. It doesn't look professional. So avoid outdated fonts. I don't really see too many people using Times New Roman anymore. We've switched to Arial, and I wanted to show you the correct way. Now I found this website that is pretty good, and it has 100% free fonts, and it also has fonts that you can buy, which are in a whole different section. But here we go. It's called Font Squirrel, and if you read this, it's good fonts for graphic design, and all these look professional, as you can see, and they're pretty easy to read. I mean, this one might be used for not as much as all these other ones, but they've got some pretty nice looking fonts here, and they're all free. So there's a whole bunch of different tags here, what you can look for, and then you can also buy fonts if you want to have more of a unique font that not everybody's going to use. But that's it. I wasn't trying to promote that website. I was just giving you guys a website to use instead of like the ones that everybody uses that has all the like the goofy fancy fonts on it that are like used for maybe like one thing. So make sure your font library is nice, and then in another tutorial I'll show you how to install these fonts. It's really easy, and you don't even need to have to do anything in After Effects. It's all outside of it. But if you want new fonts, which you always probably will, then I'll show you that later on. So thanks for watching about the different rules. Those are some of the more important ones that I like to show you. Go on to Google and search for typography rules or anything like that to see what is used now, and keep up to date on what's going on. You don't want to be out of date, because that's when you start looking unprofessional. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.